Hi all, very good afternoon. Before I start, if someone can just let me know, am I audible?
Yes, Ekta.
Yeah, thank you so much. So hello
Yes,
all,
you are
very
very
sorry.
okay. Yes, you are very audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So hello all, very good afternoon. Myself Ekta Dubey, and on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our partners, Ozonetel and Lead Square, we welcome you all on our webinar, simplifying collections, leveraging a strategic omnichannel approach to debt recovery challenges. Now, before we start this webinar, there are few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make you people aware of. Requesting the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the sessions. There would be a Q&A, which we would encourage once the panel discussion is over. Meanwhile, I would suggest certain guidelines for the Q&A. You need to raise your hands, unmute yourself, introduce yourself to our panel, and put your question or concern question to our panel speaker. Also, we will be keeping the chat box very engaging. So you can put your thoughts, your opinions, and your questions on the chat box from where our panel speakers and the moderator will take it. Now, before I move on to this very interesting discussion, I would like to introduce our partners. Lead Squared, recognized by Deloitte, Frost & Sullivan, Trust Radius, NASSCOM, and many others. Lead Squared is a SaaS solution provider helping 2,000 plus enterprises across 19 countries to drive sale efficiencies at scale. Our another partner, Ozonetel, is an industry leader with a customer experience space, offering businesses a robust omni-channel platform to manage end-to-end communication flows. The AI-powered full-stack platform has enabled over 2,500 plus businesses to simplify, manage, and analyze interactions at every step of their customer communication and engagement journey. The Ozonetel platform helps enterprises to engage with customers at every touch point across voice, chat, SMS, WhatsApp, and other digital channels. It fully integrates with CRM and other businesses' applications and offers a truly omni-channel experience for the customer. In this interesting webinar, we will talk about and hear interesting insights on how to enable an efficient collection process through data-driven omnichannel communications while ensuring a convenient and empathetic journey of customers. Now, I would like to invite our moderator, Prerna Ramesh, Product Manager AI at Ozonetel, to start and introduce the panel. Thank you, Prerna, for joining in. Over to you. Mahima, can you please stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, thank you, Ekta. I'd like to first talk a little bit about the topic itself, leveraging a strategic omnichannel approach to collections. And we have our speakers, Ravish, Swapnil, Sagar, Vineet, and Tushar, who will be walking us through and providing their insights based on their experience on this particular topic. I'd like to ask the panel to share their videos. Yeah. Great. So before I go into the introduction, I'd like the panel to also introduce themselves. So Ravish, why don't we start with you? Can you give a short introduction, please?
So hello everyone. My name is Ravish Gupta and I head the gold loan business at Capri Global Capital Limited, which commonly as a brand known as Capri Loans. So I had the gold loan business for them, and that's about me. Having an overall experience of more than 20 years into lending only. So we'll try to put my views on this topic since I have seen a transformation from traditional way to the digital. So we'll try that my experience will help the forum.
Great. Tushar, can you give a short introduction, please?
Hi everyone, I am Tushar and I head the product for Godrej Capital. And just like all other panelists, I would love to share light on the topic today and see if there's any question from the attendees. I'd love to answer that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Sagar? Sagar, are you there?
Mr. Sagar, can you hear me? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, Yeah, sorry. No, there's some network glitch. Kind of I moved to a different network. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm Sagar Rane. I had the India business for Ozonetel. Uh, Before Ozonetel, I was a banker for almost like 3 years, and been associated with the BFSI industry for more than a decade before moving to Ozonetel. Now I'm part of Ozonetel for the last 10 years, and we're doing wonderfully great there. Let me try and see if the views that I want to kind of put it across during the forum does help a lot of people out here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sagar. Vineet, could you give us a short introduction, please?
Hi, hello everyone. Okay, my name is Vineet, and I'm at Lead Squad. I'm taking care of the enterprise business, and with the total 16 years of experience in sales, working in different domains that include fintech, telecom, and now software. That's in short about me.
Thank you. So thank you all for taking the time out to share your insights on this panel. Let's jump right in. To give you an introduction of how the collection scene is in India in the past few years. So since COVID-19 hit, the lending market has grown exponentially. Lower disposable incomes coupled with rising unemployment rates force customers to turn to credit more than ever before. This means that debt collection teams had their work really cut out for them. Rapid digitization has forced collection agencies to switch from traditional methods of collection, such as phone calls and even letters, to digital channels. A McKinsey survey that indicated that as much as 73% of delinquent consumers paid up when contacted digitally. And this was even before the pandemic. So this number has naturally risen exponentially since the pandemic has hit us. So from omnichannel collection strategies and self-service tools to artificial intelligence-based collections management, the debt collections industry has transformed over the past 18 months. Going forward, many of these trends are also likely to prevail through 2023, which brings us to our keynote question, which I would again like all the panelists to weigh in on, as to what are the key trends to watch out for in debt collection in 2023. So we'll just go through the panel one by one again. Ravish, if we can start with you again.
Right. So I guess the collection is going through a transformation from two perspectives. One is from the regulatory perspective, and second is from a customer knowledge perspective. The regulations are getting further stringent on regular basis, and the customer is also getting more knowledgeable and aware about the effects if he is not paying on time. So I guess with the moving trend on the similar lines, I guess both the parties will be working on the same lines, and the rules will become more strict, while the customer will become more aware and will try to repay on time to avoid any future negative impacts. Because yes, the lending business is growing, but while lending also, the past experience as an rule engine is also getting more effectively utilized while making the credit decisions. So I guess the trend will be very exciting. Let's see.
Okay, thank you. So Tushar, what are your thoughts on the trends in debt collection for 2023?
So I completely agree with Ravish. And with all the most major, financial institutions now moving to a digital world, I see if a lending can change from physical to digital, the collection also has a huge potential from being, physically collected to now being digitally collected. And I think in this 2023 also, we'll see this kind of a trend where most of the companies will integrate their, softwares with service providers who will help them in getting the collections done so that it is easier as well as it is convenient for both the parties so that they can save their name in the market as well as do their collections on time.
Sagar, what are your thoughts on the 2023 trends?
No, I agree with Ravish. I think so. The regulations are definitely going customer centric, and the regulators are making a lot of compliances and effort to kind of make it more smoother for both the borrowers and the lenders. But having said that, I believe that transition into omni-channel intelligence is something to be watched out into 2023. When I say it's Omnichannel is it's marrying or integrating your multi-channel, which is your bots and your emails and everything. Uh, just to highlight, for example, let's say there's this gentleman who has borrowed money, and he says that I'll pay you. So on a WhatsApp communication to him, he said, okay, hey, I'll pay you maybe next Thursday or next Friday. So the next time the agent calls up, he should be aware that there was a communication which was made by the borrower that yeah, I'm going to pay. So that integration of uh, channel has to be there. Having said that, maybe it could be someone who have shared with the chatbot or a voice by saying that hey, I'm unemployed and I'm in a situation which is not feasible for payment or something like that. But having said that information has to be passed on to the agent in a fashion so that he is able to kind of empathize with the customer, okay, with this information and make a right judgment and make a more empathetic call. So I'll say omnichannel is something that you need to watch out.
Right. Vineet, what are your thoughts on the 2023 trends?
Okay, Ravish, Tushar, and Sagar has covered really well on all the trends. But I'll just like lay out my points. In addition to this, we all agree now that like digital transformation is something that is happening like across everywhere, and okay, BFSI as a segment has been kind of early adopter of the new technology. So now when we talk with specific like context of debt recovery in last 2 years, like during COVID and post COVID, the processes and the technology, I mean, both like have evolved and it is evolving further. So like two sort of like communication, like one is the communication to your internal teams, and second is the communication to the external customers, right? I mean, internal and external. So okay, definitely in 2023, the systems which have it's like ability to get integrated to pass on it's like omni-channel it's like communication to the customers will be seen much. The centricity with the customer. I mean, like that all of us has agreed that yes, we are going to be more customer centric. And third and most important, as per me, the data intelligence. So a lot of this data churning will happen probably, and like most of the organization would be also like looking forward to get data insights to see that how do we utilize this data to make sure that NPS goes down, the collection process is made smooth, and the collections are happy. I mean, like these are my thoughts on this to start with.
Yeah, thank you. So, Ravish, coming back to you, you had mentioned that the credit history gauging itself has improved so much that the lending itself has come. So, tying back into that, significant effort goes into ensuring that collection agencies maintain industry standards and follow clear policies. Can you elaborate how a robust recovery process can have a far-reaching impact on the lending business itself?
So I guess the base of lending business is collection only. Like you never lend for just for the sake of lending. You lend it because you want to earn interest, and interest earning will happen only when there is a recovery. So I guess recovery is always the forefront for any successful lending business. And the way technology is playing its role, right from the decision making to the actual, you can say, customer experience in terms of collection, or even I would say even at a NPA stage, lot of technology development are making the life easy as a lender. If I tell you 10 years back, if I have to judge a customer, I have only limited tools that I can check his CIBIL score, or max I can check his bank statement for a certain period, or his income. These are the limitations. If you ask me today, the limit, it's nowhere limit. You have n number of data inputs, right from multiple, you can say, scoring agencies, right from his social networking scorings, right from his behavior in terms of existing repayments, even his the income level calculation, his expense, his routine expense beyond the lending, you can say his credit liabilities. Even I can judge how much he is spending on his lifestyle, how much he is spending on his everything. Like, technology has helped us in that way. So similarly, I can do a reverse integration in terms of collection. So, in collection also, technology is now playing a role where I can see which of my customer is paying to someone else and is denying to me, or which of my customer is having an income but intentionally defaulting, or many other ways, or which of my customer is avoiding calls at a particular time frame but is picking my call at a certain time frame. So lot of you can say the play is coming where the behavior can be utilized to improve the collection, and particularly in businesses like gold loan or credit card where the repeat customer business is very high. On one side I want to recover, but on the other side I do not want to annoy him, because ultimately he is my repeat source of business. So in those businesses, this AI or all these systems will play a very distinguished role. The organizations who will adopt all these things, or organizations who will take the technology at forefront, will always be on a better customer experience. Because customer know that he has to pay, but how we demand it will decide his experience and will make him decide to whom he has to go repeat. In today's scenario, no one wants to get harassed. People 10, 15, 20 years back are ready to listen if they are defaulted. Today, customer is not ready to listen. As per him, default is okay. I'm paying you additional charges. I'm paying you a lot of things. Don't harass me. You help me in how I can repay you in multiple ways. And it is about timing. If your system is capable, if you are using AI, you can even track when his salary is getting credit. So you can, have a reminder exactly after it, that repay your dues first before you start spending it somewhere else. So lot of technology implementation, or you can say use, can make collection further robust. And if the collection will get robust, ultimately your ability to lend or your risk appetite get increased, because you are sure that yes, you have a mechanism to recover. So this is my view. I hope the panel members will further add on, but definitely collection is forefront for lending business. If technology can play a role in improving collection, it is too good for the lending business to further grow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an interesting point that you bring up, that the customer experience itself ties back into, how, whether they're likely to recover or not. So that's an interesting point, definitely. Sagar, tying back into the technology part of all of this, can you talk a little bit about why have cloud solutions found many takers, especially in a post-pandemic world? And if you can give us some use cases based on your experience on how the BFSI players who are using on-prem solutions actually found themselves on a back foot.
Actually, I think so. It's a known fact that pandemic have accelerated cloud adoption. According to Forbes, I think 27% of leaders mentioned a significant increase in cloud spend, especially after the COVID-19. Actually, it's still there, but I think COVID-19 post-pandemic, people have kind of want to spend a huge amount of money on cloud and cloud adoption. Actually, when lockdown happened, so lockdown and remote working was a very new phrases for the organization. Unexpected reality, but people were not ready for it. But and there was a surge of people going across looking for right tool, and the right tool is nothing else but a cloud adoption. We remember in times that when people were coming to us and asking for a lot of help for enabling them into remote working, and I think we were able to kind of help them across. Our own customers we kind of made them remote working in next few seconds, or rather click of a button. But having said that,
execution right now who works at Breeze, तो उसका बहुत कम डिटेल मिला है, बाकी तो सब काम दे।
निखा देख प्लीज.
हाँ, जितेंद्र को
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No issue. I was saying that yes, most importantly, uh, pandemic had brought a new structure in terms of the businesses, especially because uh, uh, financial institutions were kind of looking at on-premise as the way to go. But and then their apprehensions were duly correct, because compliance and privacy was one of the key aspects what they were looking at. But when you look at compliance and privacy, most of the friends what we have in the cloud space are kind of a comply to it. Now, be it an ISO or a PCI DSS or a GDPR or SOC 2, I think most of the people in the cloud industry are kind of there. What we have seen across post pandemic and the collection and lending spaces, they are looking at business resilience, basically looking at high availability, looking at disaster recovery, looking at business continuity, especially in places that if there is any uncertainty that's happened. And I know for a lot of customers who are asking for a DR drill, for example. Now, that's more to look at from a business resilience, business continuity, and that's really coming from, especially from a BFS segment, and most importantly from a lending side. The reason being is key, it's a regulation that's hard hit them, especially the pandemic, which if you see the some history for last 2 years, while there's a lot of customer centric approach by the regulation, but I think that they also want to use digital approach, what Ravish mentioned, of collecting debts, because till the time you do not want to unsatisfy a customer, because as I said, there is repeat business in a lot of places, be it gold loans or be it credit card, but there are a lot of businesses that kind of do that. So I believe, yes, uh, cloud is helping, and we are doing a lot of learning across while we say so. So that's my opinion on the subject.
Thank you for sharing your experience. We have another panelist, Swapnil Jadhav, who's just joined in. Hi, Swapnil. If you could unmute your microphone and give us a quick introduction.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't join in early because I was occupied here in my office. I'm in office now. And I joined in from my phone. So the name will be a little different. Let me introduce myself. I come from a BFS experience, work with banks mostly till now, Axis Bank and then IDFC First Bank. Currently, I'm working with a housing finance company where we are into affordable housing of average ticket size of 10 lakh and below, into the underserved, underbanked kind of sectors, demographics, mostly entire 2, 3, 4 cities of India. That's kind of work that I'm doing. Education-wise, I'm a techie plus MBA, engineer plus MBA. So that's information. Now let me know if what I need to elaborate on.
So, okay, let me ask you one of the questions that I've asked Ravish already. It's basically about how we are talking about lending and recovery and how we can leverage the best collection process that we can. So can you tell me your thoughts on how a robust recovery process can have a far-reaching impact on the lending business itself?
Yeah. Now, in this country, if you the opportunity is immense because that's how the economy is growing. The large population, we are the most populous in the world. A lot of people are joining the workforce. Okay, rural to urban migration is happening. So in this situation, it is very easy for companies to set up a lending business, but difficult to have a strong collection mechanism also. Okay, if you don't have strong collection mechanism, it will hit your NPAs, it will hurt your margins, and this will have implication on your sustainable running a sustainable business or going concern. Now, just adding into that point, after till 2020 or before it, 2016-17, a lot of collections have dependence in cash availability. It's not available, so customer will do payment later on, or the collection points are not there. But there is some level of there is not some level of, there is a lot of changes which have happened on the digital side, okay, which have helped build new customer experiences. So the use case of having less frictional payment, you can trigger it from, you can have foot on street who do your collection, all the bucket which you get, they can go to every person's place where he's staying and trigger him link. You can centrally ask that person to pay if you are able to contact that person. So these all things weren't available earlier. The only way to get collection was to go visit each and every place and chase people and then do this. Now there are so many options available. If this is not working, something is working. And still, if the person is more comfortable with cash, you have the cash cash collection mechanism also. And so many different payment aggregators are there. The new payment banks are there who have each and every pin code. They'll be able to have some of the other collection point within 1 kilometer. So this is transforming. Like, you go ahead, new things will keep on coming up, which will help increase. Now the only thing will be building a strong collection mechanism for your recoveries.
Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you for joining us as well. Tying back into what you were saying about technology, Vineet, I'd like to ask you to tell us a little bit about your experiences about how, the migration from on-prem to cloud happened, how it has helped the recovery process, and how it was accelerated during the pandemic based on your experience.
Sure. So I'll start, so I picked up a line from Ravish. So Ravish mentioned that, that organizations, they lend and like they want to collect the money back with some interest onto it, right? Now, it is to ensure that the revenue like models are balanced and the organization also makes profit. Now, how technology can help basically in making this entire process seamless and bring in efficiency into this process. So if we take, like BFSI is the segment, it is highly regulated and data security is very critical. But at the same time, this segment is very dynamic and evolving. When, like earlier, I think, it's like Tushar mentioned that earlier it was like papers, right? We like everything was on paper, and the collection there were like field sales guys who used to go and heated arguments with the people that you have not paid it back. But now, since the time has changed, the customers has also changed, and the behavior of the customers has also changed. Now in on-prem, like a lot of things. I mean, during the pandemic, when we felt that field collection will not work out at that time, it's because there is a lockdown. So digital channels are the only one which are available, and the customer should have the ability to pay you online, digital, with government initiative on the UPI and other stuff. Similarly, the advancement on the technology in cloud, it offers, a kind of a flexible, reliable, secure, and scalable solution. That means the organizations, once they have to like map and manage first the customer acquisition process. Second, when the customer is onboarded, they have lent out the money has to be like collected back. So what process, how it should be auto scalable, what technology, how it has to be designed, how the business process has to be mapped, all that can be done seamlessly onto any system which is on cloud. It may be, say, a CRM plus a telephony connection, like how Ozonetel and Lead Squad is working today, to ensure that omnichannel, like communication happens. Now, the migration of this data from on-prem. So two aspects of it. The customers, have a lot of customers, especially in banks, like there is some hesitation in terms of like adopting like cloud as a solution for these things. But shyness is kind of going away now. Slowly, the BFSI is adopting this as well, and it is because the scalable or the solution, the flexibility, the agility to turn around things, to the speed at which the business process can be mapped and managed. It is visible in the organization. It is visible on cloud. So like that's the reason that most of the like organizations now are kind of open to host on cloud, to be on cloud for these kind of process. Okay, coming back to specific to debt recovery as a process, we understand that two different kinds of collection process can be mapped. Okay, one is when you have your DPD, you have your PTP, and how like it has to be pushed to the call center. Call center has to call those customers to ensure that they have a PTP and they pay it on time. If that is not happening automatically, the allocation should be done to the field sales. All those processes are there. Now, these processes can be, it can like evolve over time. And also, like there are different systems from which data is flowing into one centralized system. And this is possible, the integration and all that stuff is possible only if you adopt a cloud technology. I mean, like that's my take on cloud. I mean, and it has been, okay, the ways Tushar or Swapnil can also kind of, like comment on this, whether like this kind of technology is helping the organizations to recover better, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I think the visibility aspect itself is going to make a huge difference. Tushar, I'd like to ask you, since we've already spoken about how many different options there are to reach out to customers, right? There are so many different channels. What is the strategy you would recommend on what is the best, most effective way to optimize all these alternate channels in general in terms of like BFSI customer experience, but also specifically for debt recovery?
So
Like, how do you
for any
choose which?
organization,
Yeah.
So for any organization, it is important to bifurcate that what is the nature of default. Let's say a credit card default has its own implications, a mortgage default has its own implications, and a PL default has its own implications within the P&L of the organization. So what these AI-based companies or the software, what that helps is that you can set a priority. So let's say if I have a field agent on the field today, so what I can do is I can just make a priority of all the debts, or rather all the defaults which are in that area, and ensure that the best route is followed by the sales manager. And also there is a goal for the day for that person with the priority that he has to go here first, collect from that person, then he can go to the next person. So what that does is, before, like everyone mentioned, before this digitization came into the picture, it was not that effective. So one salesperson was going to, let's say if he's based out of Delhi NCR, so let's say he's in Uttam Nagar as we speak, then the next call would be in Rajendra Place, then the next call would be in Nechadi's Bas Place, which is completely in different angles of the city. But now with this AI-based kind of systems in place, he knows that within the span of, let's say, 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, there are, let's say, 15 or 20 clients who have done some default within this organization, or maybe for other organizations also. So what he can do is he can plan his day that way, so that effectively he can collect from all the 15, 16, or maybe whatever the number of the customers is in that location, and ensure that at least one bucket of that side is cleared. And like Sagar and all, everyone mentioned, that there are many ways to give notifications to the client these days, like WhatsApp notifications there, push notifications, or through emails or through SMS, everything is there. But it is very important for us to understand that, so the brand, because of so much competition in the market, the brand image is also very important. So it is important for us to cater to their requirements also, and to understand if there is a default, what is the nature of the default, if it is intentional, or if there is some basic reason behind that default. That is also very important. And with these AI-based companies, as well as this integration which is happening, now this has become extremely easy for us to evaluate if this is the intentional default, or a nature, or some kind of a basic problem with the person because of which he defaulted. That also helps, and also makes this recovery mechanism really effective.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think the geographical aspect is a huge thing. Coming back to Vineet, I want to talk a little bit about Lead Square. It's been playing a critical role in digitizing the collection process for many players. So how has the Lead Square CRM integration enabling effective debt management and simplifying the debt recovery process?
Sure. So two aspects. Okay, one is like Lead Square as a CRM. The second aspect is when you have to solve the problem of a process or of a module, you need to get integrated with different systems as well, right? you need to get integrated with a telephony like Ozonetel. You need to get integrated with legacy systems or the core banking system from where the sources basically from where cases can be uploaded. So we as an organization have like helped and set up a complete collection process for many organizations and at a great speed. I mean, the agility at which this implementation can be done is one of the key aspects from our side. Now, if we have to just look at this process, basically, I will take a minute basically to define this process and then how we are helping into it. So like collection is basically like as per my understanding, and I'm sure the veterans are here. So correct me, I mean, wherever it is needed, please. So like when you lend out the money, it has to be collected in a periodic time and fashion, right? Now, this if that periodic money is not coming by, say, if I've disbursed this money to 1,000 people and I get only from 990, so 10 are defaulters. There can be different reasons for it, of course. Now, as a system, I need to know that okay, which are these 1,000 where the money has been distributed, and which are the 990 from where money is coming, and which are the 10 who has defaulted. Now, how do we kind of infuse technology to ensure that I know the nature of these 10 people that like by default has happened. So first instance is, you start with sourcing from the multiple systems. It means the seamless integration is needed. Now I need integration through an API where FTP like cases can be uploaded onto the system. Then I need to kind of like configure the allocation of these cases basis, whether it is it's like a delinquent or pre-delinquent. Now I need to map the collection strategy onto the system. So when I say collection strategy, that means like in my system, I want to send out a notification, maybe through WhatsApp, through SMS, through email, whatever it is, but depending upon the preference of the customer. I mean, in all this, we have to also keep customer centricity at a very high priority. It's because if customer is comfortable on, or he is active on this channel, then I have to use that specific channel for that customer. So understanding of this through technology, it becomes easier to engage the customer. Okay, so once we define this this method of say or the strategy for collection, where I upload all the cases basis the DPD or PTP, like P2P, if there has to be soft call that has to go through the call center. So data should be automatically pushed to the call center where we have an integration with a telephony like Ozonetel. So data is pushed, the agents are making calls. They kind of like dispose that call, like collect some information about that, dispose it, and basis that again the system should be able to write the flow or automate that if it has to be assigned to a different field sales team, and the ability of the field sales team should have an app, a mobile app should be powered by a mobile app where there should be an ability to generate a link there itself, or collect cash and punch in data into forms to ensure that this process can be like completely circled back. The loops from say, I mean, like call center to field sales should be closed completely. Now, if there is a DPD that has happened, how many calls should go, what sort of calls should go, like this entire process has to be mapped on a system like Lead Square or any CRM. If we are able to map this process, and if we are able to show the analytics also to the collection heads, basically that this is the collection dashboard for the collection head, where he knows that in this, say, if my operations are pan India, in this state, in this particular district, like this is the collection I'm expecting. So it's like expectation versus achievement. Then in that achievement, what is the defaulter? If there are default, what should be the next course of action? Like how technology is helping in kind of improving all this, or bringing an efficiency into collecting more. So that's the take that Lead Squad has always taken for like improvement in the process and improving the productivity of the agents, whether it is in call center or on field sales, to collect more.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for that. I actually want to hear from both Ravish and Swapnil on the next question. Ravish, we'll start with you. So how do you think you can maximize results while keeping the customer in mind and protecting the brand in the marketplace?
So, as I earlier already covered, that it is not only about protecting the brand, it is about the regulation. Because being a regulated entity, you cannot go, on the direction where tomorrow you can be, penalized by the regulator, or you can be cautioned by the regulator. So, definitely, as an NBFC or as in banking, any BFSI will always want to be go through a way which is completely as per the regulations. Now, what I was just hearing the comments from my counterparts, one thing I just want to highlight, that the collection has been transformed in last 15 years in a big way. It is not only about the mode of payment. It is a complete journey which has been transformed. That journey starts from the reminders. The way now the customers are getting reminded is not only through a traditional call, which customer will pick or not pick. It's not about that every time the customer will not pick the call because he intentionally don't want to pay. Maybe he will be busy, So now there are multiple ways where the technology play a role, where the intentful customer will get a proper reminder. Two, even beyond mode of payments, he will have a ease of, have a very, you can say, for cash deposits, someone from the forum has told that even if he has to pay cash, let me tell you that now even for cash collection also, you don't have to send your person. Lot of payment banks, lot of aggregators are available in the market, through which you can actually get the collection done in cash form from a nearby shop within his geography. Let's say there is a payment bank like Airtel or Fino or Paytm. They have outlets through Kirana shop or a photocopy shop merchant, and where you can guide your customer that if your intent is right and you don't want to come to my branch, or you don't want me to send a person to your place, you can just visit your nearest outlet and deposit it even in cash. On the digital platform, I guess lot of avenues are available. UPI has completely turned around the way of collection. Now, nothing is like the check will pick up the check, or nothing is like that I want to pay, but I will do the transaction reflect after 2 days. It's like instant. You have a dynamic QR code, you have so lot of facilities are available to collect. And the complete journey covers at how you can recover from an intentionally default customer, because the first two segments will make the life easy of a intentful repair, where the customer has an intent and you are making his life easy, that his default should not continue for a longer term. It default if it recovered. So the intentional will be covered in the first two phases, but the third, where there is an intention. Now, even in the intentional default, now the technology is actually changing the game. When you are talking to a customer and you have a complete data intelligence about him, you can talk to him in a more granular manner and with a logic. That, for example, if I have a AI tool which can tell me that this customer is paying to 5 other lenders, but is defaulting to me only. I will try to understand his pain point. His pain point may be something else. His pain point may be something, a wrong commitment. His pain point may be something, a wrong approach by some local staff at a branch. Because India is on one side is a big market, but on the other side, Indians are quite emotional. In my last 20 years career, I found many customers who default because they find something wrong in the approach of a collection agent, that how he can come to my house, I will not repay. So you have to pacify people, you have to make them understood, and all those things, all these technology things are helping our life easy. That the tools are giving us filtered information, tools are guiding us with whom you have to talk in which way, or even in the intentional defaulter pool, from where you can have a higher chance of recovery and where actually you don't have money. So if we don't have money, whatever way you will follow, ultimately the probability of recovery will be quite low. So in and on, collection is not about only having a streamlined tool to recover, or it's not only about a way to communicate. It is completely the journey where incoming of technology is making a lot of things smooth, short, and the crisp information is making the overall efforts more effective, and the results are more, you can say, with less effort, higher results are coming if you are using the tools properly. So this is my view. I hope Swapnil.
Yeah.
Yeah, very descriptive and elaborate answer that was. In fact, a lot of my points were already covered by Rajesh, but what I'll say is any amount of digitization, creation of better user experience and customer experience is only a hook or a tool in the whole scheme of things for collections. Okay, if you are not having affinity with the customer who intends to pay back with you over time, and in certain segments like affordable housing, okay, like any segment which is targeting to the underserved tier 3-4 market, there it is more problematic, because one is the customer doesn't understand his CIBIL issues and all. At least customer who is in the prime segment, who are into salaried segment, no, you have that stick that if you don't pay, you will have issues in your CIBIL, you will have issues in future loans, it will affect your credit history, bureau history. But if you go and tell the same thing to a person who is from a different demographic, he will say, we don't care. We have 10 companies after us chasing for loans. It is okay. We don't understand what is CIBIL and all that. There, instead of talking technology things, it's more about creating affinity and making understand that if you have paid and you have made a commitment, then you have to follow through, and getting that in the right manner, conveying that information in the right manner, that is the most important thing. Okay, then how to collect, either through that NASH or the new ways which are coming like UPI for small ticket. You can have a UPI collect request. There's so many different use cases. I also keep on creating different use cases. We are trying for a QR based collection, where like a Flipkart and your Dunzo app, agent will come to you and he will generate QR code, a screen, suddenly a QR code will be on his screen. He will show it to customer like this. Customer will scan and pay. Okay, whatever pending dues and charges are there, including all the late payment charges, including any legal charges if they're all that included, and automating all the receipt also. Okay. Second part to this is reducing the overheads on your side. While you create collection mechanism for the customer, a lot of times in many companies not automated. You create receipts, then you have to go through all the checking if these receipts are for which kind of customers. Okay, so that maker-checker mechanism itself consumes a lot of your cost. It incurs cost based on manpower. So there, lot of end-to-end integration. So as soon as the receipt gets generated, it shows in your LOS, loan originating system, it shows in your LMS, loan management system, and properly your call center team agents who are calling and etc. They get to have a view of what kind of customers are paid, and you knock off all the NP accounts in time. It shouldn't happen that because of issues between LMS and LOS, which is your where your receipting happens and actual knock off happens. They're having a lot of delays, because of which customers already paid keep getting charges, and that breaks trust. So that trust that whenever we pay, suddenly your name gets cleared and you don't get any follow-up. Nobody calls you, nobody bothers you till the time you actually don't default again. So that customer experience is also another important thing. Okay, so while it is like, okay, it's a very small technical thing, but if you think from a customer's angle, it gives a delightful experience that as soon as they paid, everything was cleared, and in the app, in the receipts, they see their dues as cleared. Apart from it, all of the points were very nicely captured by the earlier panelist.
Yeah, thank you for adding your 2 cents, Swapnil. Sagar, I have one question for you, and then after that, we'll open it up for the audience questions.
Sorry.
We've already covered this a little bit, but I want you to elaborate a little on how customers need to stay updated with compliance rules, privacy, as well as security. So how can we enable efficient, compliant communication designed to meet the requirements of debt collection laws and regulation? So what is your, from your perspective?
So I think you mean the customer here is the bankers and
the companies. The
company.
Yes, yeah. That's
so there are 2 sides to it. So like Ravish and others have said that, and as a banker earlier, I knew that banks or NBFC do lend because they want to get an interest out of it, which is their income. That's the primary income. So typically it's an asset class than a liability class. Your fixed deposits are typically liabilities, and your loans are your assets. The reason being is you earn out of it. Okay. But having said that, compliance over a period of time has emerged a lot. For example, let's say, and more emerged and more digitalized. So let's say from when in the entire journey, okay, I'm just trying to have compliances at every touch point here. Let's say you have video KYCs coming in picture, which was not about seen earlier. You've got digitalization of doing the KYC and kind of giving out a small ticket loan or a 5 or 10 lakh rupees of a loan instead of time. I think that lot of change across with the help of, I think, a lot of fintech guys, a lot of AI people who have kind of married or integrated a lot of systems across multiple touchpoints. So that's from the lending side. So when you say I'm lending, now coming back to your the collections asset, yes, I think as one of our panelists said, yes, debt collection earlier industry employed a strong arm twisting technique, okay, to resolve delinquency. And that's what I think the only way that got resolved. And that is how also it pushes the regulators to get into a lot of new regulations. So if you see, RBI has put a very stringent customer-centric regulation, and they definitely want them to be empathic. And that is where I said, watch out for that omnichannel piece, because that is going to be your that is something that is going to be your guardrail for all your communication strategy. What as a financial institute want to do with your customer, because when you are kind of moving into compliances, both your conversation or length of your communication that goes with. So when you're completely compliant, both as a lender, both as a borrower, and I think that's all about I think that we started about that.
Okay, thanks, Sagar. Before we go into the closing remarks, I'd like to address the audience questions. So we have a question from Kamal saying, and this is open to the entire panel. How can we set the calling priority, like call receiving time, since we do have the access of the client's phone, or we have to access, or we have to have the phone access? If anyone can take this question.
What was the question?
How can we set the calling priority, like call receiving time? So how do you determine the calling priority? Like we have discussed a bit about when to call a person, how to reach out to a person.
So I'll give an example. Okay, I was building on a journey for IDFC Bank. That was 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, I think, or 2 years ago. We use something called HP, hyper personalized engine. Okay, you can Google about it. That was for a different solution, for a different use case. The use case was to reach out to customers to generate customer intent for leads. Okay, that is, if you are eligible and you're showing in my data analytics, you're showing eligible for personal loan. Okay. Okay, my video was off, sorry. Personal loan. So I want to reach out to the time when you are available. Okay, and based on your history with me, or what time you come to IB, what time you come to MB, IB is internet banking, MB is mobile banking, what time you had picked up calls from call center, that data I'll have. And based on that, I know, are you a person who is responsible 9 to 10 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock, housewife 3 to 4 o'clock, somebody salary 6 to 7 to 8 o'clock, or 6 to 7 o'clock. And based on that, we used to build models. So there was an AI engine. But to simplify it, you can do it in predictive caller also. In predict, like you're doing callings to customers, okay, who are shown up in certain buckets. You can use email certain dialers and do predictive calling to certain customers based on which time they are more receptive to your calls. So that is one way to solve your this thing problem.
Yeah, that's interesting. The second question is that digital solutions are working for very early buckets, but higher buckets, it is still a pain. Any thoughts on increasing connectivity? And does anyone want to take this question? Oh. So I think what he's trying to say is that digital solutions are working, that reaching out to customers are working for more earlier points of contact, whereas for higher buckets, it is still a pain. So how can we increase connectivity when you've already contacted someone a couple of times?
So should I take it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Ravish.
All right. So yes, I agree to the person that in the higher bucket, the digital modes are not so easy to utilize because the customer has already crossed a certain days and he has already shown a non-intent to repay. So I will just share again from my earlier discussed example that from the journey where you have already identified that there is an intention issue. So you need to create ways to first create the communication. And for creating a communication, you have to all these tools can make these things little easy. So if you ask me years back, without this technology, you cannot even track a customer considering today's regulations. So you cannot go to visit his house before a certain time in the morning. You cannot go beyond a certain time in the evening. But now with the help of technology, you can actually take his permission to contact without visiting his place, And if the customer is intending to have a discussion, you have an opportunity to discuss. Because if you follow the rules, you cannot go beyond before in the morning, late in the evening, in the daytime, he will be out in the market, maybe on his job, maybe on his shop. It is very difficult to track. And then it leads to the communication gap. If there is no communication, there is no chance of resolution. So what I want to put it as that all these tools can help you to build communication. Once the communication is built, then only you can expect the phase 2, which is the resolution plan with the customer. Because ultimately, recovery, we all have to understand, is not only about a demand. It is something, a mutually agreed plan, because ultimately he has to repay. Only demanding is not the resolution. you have to make him convinced that why he should repay and how easy, how from his set of things, how he can plan the repayment. Because if he already has a plan, he must have repaid. So we have to make him understand. After a certain bucket, it's all about how you make customer understand that why it is important, how it is impacting his future lending needs, and how from his existing source of income or existing source of fund, how the prioritization can be changed, and to make him understand that yes, you should pay. But for all these things, the communication is important, and all these tools can help you in setting up that communication, which, considering the current regulatory phenomena, physically it is very difficult, emotionally it is very difficult. So this is my view.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Our next question is from Jeevan. He's asking, what are the tools or technology that you are using currently to check the customer's social profile and get that information over there to then help in the debt recovery process? Again, the question is open to anyone in the panel. Are there any tools currently being used that you are currently using in your current use case, where you get people's social media information also to determine whether they're going to willing to pay or non-intending to pay?
So I'll take, if you allow me, just
Sure.
one part of this question, not fully, because I think Ravish, Swapnil, or like Tushar would have set up something on this context, but from a social media, it's like profile or social profile basically. So there are, we have integrated, I mean, for some of the customers, we have integrated the social media discovery app. I mean, these are basically some tools which are there, and there you get this the LinkedIn, Facebook, or Insta, like profile of the customer, and it is shown. This is kind of as a link. It is shown on the wall of the lead. If you have a lead wall, say for example, in your CRM system, we show it on there, as a link. If you click there, you go to the Insta page, you see that no, actually this is existing, and there are people connected around that. So this is possible. But yeah, I mean, like, what is the action that you want to follow? If you have gathered all this information, so what is the next action that you want to do on that? So do you want to send out some communication onto the social media channels to this particular person? So that businesses should define that, basically.
So I just want to add my view on this, what Vineet is saying. Yes, you can use the tools to find a person, but you cannot communicate with him on any open platform, or because, again, the regulator comes there. You cannot again harass anyone.
Sure.
So using bad language in front of a customer's house is as equal using a follow-up language on a Facebook. It is same. So yes, it can help you in finding a customer, but you have to be very cautious while communicating with him on any such platform which is not agreed by him in the list of communication as part of agreed agreement. So this I just want to highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Ravish and Vineet. Our next question is about digital reminders and how much of an impact they have on collection enhancement. So there, too few is bad and too much is also bad. So how do you get the right, impact from digital reminders for collections? Does anyone want to take up this?
So this, I already once mentioned it, that any digital intervention or solution you build, that is just a hook.
Okay.
No matter how many digital solutions you build, you have to have an affinity with the customer, okay, from your side, from the company side, from the collection team side. If that is missing, then no amount of app, no amount of pushing messages, etc., is going to have a bearing. So that is anyway a very good enabler. but the enabler has to be backed up with a proper affinity with the customer.
Sorry, proper affinity?
Affinity, relation, proper relation, respect, relation.
Oh,
So I just want to kind of add with what Swapnil said is, yes, technology, be it your digital platforms, be it dialers, which is predictive progressive dialers or CRM. The whole idea is kind of giving information of a customer or consumer at a journey. Now the journey could be a lending journey or a collection journey. But if I have to look at me as a banker earlier, and if to kind of relate it back, okay, of course it's slightly dated and things have kind of changed. People have kind of understood a lot of the repayment policy, but yes, there are still people around who still have the behavior of not to pay. Now you really do not have an answer to it, but for people who have something or the other where the affinity needs to be built upon, the communication needs to be built upon, and then you've got a lot of options, be it your digital platform, social media platform, digital platform, your omnichannel channels, and other ways means to get an empathic with him, so that you build a communication, so that you are able to resolve the delicacy bucket and kind of then move on onto the next journey.
Thanks, Sagar. Our next question is from Ashok Kumar. He wants to know if there's any platform to connect financial institutions to cross-verify whether someone has defaulted with other financial institutions. So again, I think Tushar, Ravish, and Swapnil, this question is better suited to you.
Yeah, I mean, there are, right? We have credit bureaus for the same, but there's a delay. As far as I know, credit bureau doesn't give you instant default visibility. And if Vinith or somebody can pitch in to tell what is the exact duration. But after the time lag, you get to know what are the trade line running loans of the customer. Okay, what has he done in the past? Has he defaulted? Has he done DPDs? And how many DPDs? 30 plus, 90 plus, all that, 60 plus. That is already available. There are 4 bureaus right now. Sibyl is one. Then Experian. There is Highmark, RIF, and there is one more. I'm not getting the name. So there are 4 such bureaus. Plus, there are some companies who are TSPs who give you view of all the bureaus. So yeah, technically it's available.
So, but there is a time lag. There is no real time checking, is it?
It is. So I just want to comment here. It is all. It takes, I mean, 2 minutes to like 20 minutes, but it's almost kind of real time. These integrations are it's like plugin connectors basically nowadays.
Okay.
So Hunter check is also there. Hunter checks can also be done.
So I just want to add that it's more about the analytical tool rather than, I would say, there is some technology. It's all about how you are reading the available data and utilizing it for the communication with the customer. So what he's saying, what he is expecting is that he wants to know whether the customer is paying to others and not paying to me, or vice versa. It's quite easily available, and I guess majority of the BFSI organizations are using it and prioritizing their approach in terms of focus, because if someone is paying to someone else, there is a high probability that he will start paying you also if communicated.
Okay. Yeah. So let's take one last question before we go into the closing remarks. I'm interested in knowing how do you improve your agent training? So your recovery agents, like what are the guidelines that you give them to make sure that your brand is protected as well as they have maximum effectiveness in terms of recovery? And how do you what's the difference between the the digital agents who are making the calls or chatting, etc., and the ones who are in the field? So what are the general guidelines that you have provided for them? Apart from just not being too aggressive and the usual being polite, etc. So Tushar, Ravish, and Swapnil, again, I think this is better suited for you.
So as far as the digital, on the digital platform, the recordings are available. You have to keep an eye on what kind of language or what kind of communication is happening between the, the call center person or the telecaller. Even, lot of tools are available where I can restrict my ground agent also to communicate through a generic, through his personal number rather than moving it towards, you can say a recorded line or a telephony kind of a connection where I can control when he's calling to the customer, what he's talking. I can even have a view of the duration he's spending with the customer. Even in some cases, there would be a backup in a cloud, having a recording of the communication happened between the two. So all these tools are quite available, and it is about consistent training and recall to the people doing this activity, because usually it is it is not a one-time job. It is a regular recall. That you have to tell your people that on this call you goes wrong, or on that call you have to be little cautious next time. All such things. So all those feedbacks need to be given, and for that lot of system has been already available in the market where you can automate things.
Yeah.
Also, to add to what just Ravi said, I think if the agents are a little bit more emphatic with the clients rather than being stern or being arrogant with them, that also helps. If you understand the root cause of every default, there is a reason around it. It can be due to some mistake from the organization side, or it can be some personal issue, or it can be some intentional issue. So in the first round of call, if he is emphatic with the customer, and if he tries to understand the root cause of that default, I think 90% of the battle is already won if that call goes well. And for the balance 10, like Ravi said, there are always recordings available. You can go through them, you can analyze them, and ensure that the next call, which happens maybe on the field or offline, has some kind of a solution or some kind of a better resolution around it, so that it's a win-win for both the organizations or both the parties involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for your thoughts on that. I think since we're almost out of time, we can move to the closing remarks. I just want to go to each one of you again and see if there's anything further you want to add. And thank you all again for your time. So, Vineet, let's start with you this time. Any closing remarks from your end?
Sure. See, when we're speaking and taking the context, the collection as a process, I will agree on all the points which Ravish or say Sagar or Tushar or Swapnil has made, stating, like compiling it that this is basically if there is any default happening on the customer side, there can be like various reasons. Now, we should also be kind of like empathetic to understand. B, now the use of technology to understand this kind of segment. I mean, if you have the database, say, okay, like mentioned earlier as well, like technology should help the organization to segment and bucketize these data points in such a way that the people who are working on the data should have a clear indication, like out of it's like 1,000, if Ravish has to see his like dashboard of say 10,000 people who have taken money, he should be able to understand and then pass on the information that we should also be empathetic, because we understand that why this is not paid, or there can be reasons. And then if we have to set up a like process to improve the collection with the help of technology, that process has to be
Vineet, I think we lost you.
Yes, I guess there's some network.
Vineet, you're back now.
Yeah, acha, I was not.
Yeah,
So I was saying, I mean, that though like technology has evolved to the core where we would be able to define all the business flows, process everything, like omni-channel communication, but always it has to be human centric. When we say human centric, I essentially mean that customer centricity should be on a high priority. To understand and to empathize with the customer, then technology will also help us to improve this process, to collect more, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. Swapnil, can you give us some closing remarks if you have any last statements to add?
Sure. So what I'll say is, we are evolving. It's a evolving kind of a lending. Lending itself is a very fast growing and fast changing market. So many regulations keep on coming up. New companies come. Okay, new ways of solving the older use cases also happen, and that will keep happening. But the main business model, how are you creating your payment mechanism? How are you creating the recovery lending mechanism? That is the mainstay, and that is the most important thing, which will help us in proper debt recoveries.
Absolutely. Sagar, any closing remarks from you?
Yeah, I agree with Swapnil. I agree with this. Technology is going to be a major driver in terms of your recovery strategies and formation and implementation. But having said that, it's a we are learning, we are investing, we are innovating, we are driving. Of course, 10 years back, uh, getting a loan of let's say 5 lakh rupees instantly into your bank account was definitely not possible, which you are able to see today. Okay, I'm sure that while we lend it, okay, uh, uh, by a lot of those mechanisms and the technology that is available in terms of understanding the customer social or digital presence, okay, in the ecosystem that we are, okay, that will also advance going ahead. And I believe technology will also come in more better to give you more insight in terms of how do you be more customer centric, more empathic, but instead keep your collection far better. That's all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Tushar, any closing remarks from you?
So just a one-liner, that collection in this day and age is probably nothing but much more than a human touch added with an advantage of technology. That is what I believe, and that is how I think this collection mechanism will evolve over a period of time. And I agree with all the panelists, whatever they have said thus far.
Absolutely. That's very concise way of putting it. Ravish, any closing remarks from you?
So I guess it was a good session, and as a closing comment, I always treat recovery as a relationship. So as a lending person, my way of looking recovery is relationship. How strong you maintain with the customer, the more easy it would be. So technology is playing a lot of role in increasing the relationship. Some years back, if you are away from your hometown, you will meet your parents, you will meet your friends, family in years gap. Now you can chat with them every hour over a video call. So relationship improve, communication improve, recovery automatically will improve. So this is way how I look things, and I hope this session was a good one for all the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for your insights. And it's been really interesting to understand how not just how the collection processes changed in the past couple of years, but also how it's going to change with all emerging technologies like AI, etc. And also at the same time, not losing the human element in all of this, and making sure the customer experience works is the most important. So we can end the session now. Thank you all for joining, and thank you so much for the audience for participating and asking all the relevant questions as well. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
everyone.
on that note, yeah, this is Ekta from Panellists. So of course, Prerna has already given the closing note. On that note, again, I would like to thank all the speakers for taking out your time being here. Prerna, thank you for wonderfully moderating it. Audience, thank you for taking your time on Friday noon and being here with us and making this session interesting by your questions. We shall be sharing the entire session as video with you on a thank you mail, and would love to reconnect you with Ozonetel and Lead Squared for their wonderful solutions that they have shown. So on that note, thank you and take care of yourself and have a lovely weekend ahead, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good day.